We are grateful this morning, grateful for the blessings of this day, this week, the things that feel good, that we hope for, that we wish for, that we desire, and that we have manifested, and those things that we find difficult. We are grateful in everything. So as we join together this morning to speak about integrity, to consider the truth that resonates with our very being, give us awareness of that truth. Give us awareness of how it impacts us and how it impacts our community, how it impacts our world. Again, we are grateful for everyone who has joined us in person and online. We are blessed, and so it is.
So it's now time for our opening song, and I'm going to invite everyone to sing. And the song is We. We got to do the chorus on that one. We only had two verses up here. We get the full experience when we have. Sorry, I should have checked that. I didn't see them. All right, now it's time for our welcome. This is the fun time, the welcome, connection time, and blessing of all of us and our visitors. Welcome to Unity of Payson. We're glad you're with us this morning. We want to recognize anyone who's new to Unity. If you're here online or in person for the first or second time, please raise your hand. Oh, we have Ron. Welcome, Ron. And Kay, is anyone raising their hand in person? I mean, on virtually? Sorry.
Uh, no one has their video on.
Oh, okay. If you're new, please put your video on and then raise your hand. That would be helpful. Okay, so we're going to go to the gallery view. Yes. And if you'd like to be informed of our weekly activities, we send out a Monday e-newsletter by email. So please leave your email in the chat, or you can go to unityofpayson.org and leave us a message on the contact page. Later in the service, we'll rotate the camera so those online can connect with those who are here in person. Okay. Again, we warmly welcome you, and from our Unity of Payson family, we'll say the prayer together, which we drop the gallery view and put the prayer on the slide. Here we go. We love you, we bless you, and we welcome you. We did it. Great. All right. Gratitudes. We're grateful for those who support Unity of Payson with time, talent, and treasure. We're grateful for the events of last week, which included Morning Cafe, Qigong, Cards and Games, the World Day of Prayer service. That was the week before, wasn't it? All right. We're thankful for the technology that allows us to meet both in person and virtually. So I'm going to open it up to gratitudes. Anybody here has a gratitude they'd like to share? Please raise your hand. Yes. Yes. Safe and protected on the drive. Yes. Thank you for that. Anyone else have a gratitude they'd like to share? Ron. Finding unity in a different part of the country. Welcome. And you're from Indiana? Bloomington, Indiana. We have a guest today. Is anyone online from, can you tell Kay if anyone's online from other places? That's all right, if you can't. We'll get this smoothed out. This is a time where we are trying to get everyone together, who's online, who's in person. You know, if anybody has a gratitude online that you'd like to share, you can raise your hand and unmute, and we call on you if Kate calls on you. Okay, next time, be prepared. I'm going to ask again next week. All right. Unity is grounded in meditation and affirmative prayer. We have trained prayer chaplains to support you. And we're going forward. Our chaplains are available to pray with you if you have a prayer concern. You may email your request to Rev Neal at neal.unityofpayson@gmail.com. Our prayer team and Silent Unity will join you in prayer for a total of 60 days. All prayer requests are held sacred and confidential. And if you're here in person and would like prayer support, please connect with one of our chaplains who are here after the service. Our chaplains are wearing stoles, prayer stoles. We have Marianne, we have Betty. This is my prayer stole today, and I'm one of the chaplains also. Okay. Unity of Payson's theme for the month is integrity. And I'm going to say the affirmation. Let's say it together. My words and actions are in harmony with my values. I am whole and complete. Yes, yes, yes. Today's speaker is Rev Neal Worthington, and the title of his talk is Sink or Sink. S-I-N-K or question mark S-Y-N-C. daily word for today. Thoughtful. My kind thoughts and deeds are a blessing. Today, I bring the love and peace of God to all of my encounters by being thoughtful. More than politeness and deeper than kindness. Thoughtfulness means I consider the comfort and happiness of others equal to my own. My intention is to let those in my life know what they need. I may reach out to someone who needs an encouraging word, letting them know they have what it takes to succeed. I may surprise someone with a kind act, anticipating a need and taking care of something before they have to ask. Before they ask, I will be there. Each thoughtful word and act lets those in my life know how important they are to me and how worthy they are of my time and attention. From Hebrews 13:16, do not neglect to do good and to share what you have, for such sacrifices are pleasing to God. And also for us to be thoughtful of ourselves, equal to others, makes for a very balanced, healthy relationship. So there's my thought on that thoughtfulness. And now it's time for our speaker, Rev Neal Worthington. Sink or sink?
A couple of months ago, I had an opportunity to be in a beautiful part of Arizona. And there was one thing that really captured my attention as I viewed Canyon de Chelly. If you're here, how many people have been to Canyon de Chelly? If you haven't seen it, you've missed. Just absolutely beautiful and full of history. One of the things that captured my attention was some little holes in the canyon wall. I found out a little more about them. Those were holes, hand holes and footholds that allowed the Denai people, the Navajos, to climb to safety. It was in the mid-1800s when the U.S. government decided that they would relocate the Navajo. Navajo that had these vast homelands in Arizona and New Mexico, even up into Utah and Colorado. They were being relocated for, I guess, what was called at that time manifest destiny. Certainly we review that with some trepidation. But the handholds were there as the U.S. cavalry came to move the Navajo people out of that place that was their home. Now, the interesting thing about it was that the Navajo looked at that land as a place where they, as humans, met with holy people as well. The land itself played a unique role. And so they were very persistent in this belief that this land was important to them and that the land not only was their land, it was a land and they belonged to it as well. So when the U.S. cavalry came to displace them, they took big logs of ponderosa pine trees, cut notches in them, put them up against the cliff, climbed, and then created these handholds and footholds and climbed up to a fortress on the top of the cliff or near the top of the cliff. They were thoughtful. They took along food. They took along water, but they ran out at a week and a half when the cavalry didn't leave. And so they figured out a way to get down during the night and send someone to bring water back up. Now, everything that went up that cliff had to be carried on the backs of people that were putting their hands in the holes to climb this vertical cliff. They were rising. They had chosen to rise from the very belief that they had that this was their land, it was part of them. And they chose to rise to overcome the obstacle of the US cavalry coming to displace them. Well, in the long run, they went ahead and were displaced, but they never lost that love for that land, that connection with the holiness of the land, that connection between the divine and they as humans. And that's what we've been talking about somewhat here. But capture this, don't forget this. It was rising, it was elevating that allowed them to, first of all, have protection for a period of time. And second of all, that elevated thought that allowed them eventually to return to their land. Still not over yet, but that deep belief caused them to elevate themselves and what we're going to talk about, their consciousness. So our theme for the month of September has been integrity. And we talked last week about how we have an identity. Matter of fact, we have two identities. We have a divine identity and we have a human identity. And as these meld, as these align, they produce the possibility to live in integrity with who we really are from a divine perspective and who we are uniquely from our human perspective. And so today we move on to speak about how we can take this consciousness that is a part of our lives and we can choose in consciousness the way that helps us to elevate, to rise. So that's it. Sink, to go down, to slip into, or to elevate, sink, S-Y-N-C. That is to align with the divine, to be connected and aligned so that our purpose is sure. We'll be talking a little bit about consciousness, and I just want to mention consciousness. Consciousness is the composite, and this is a metaphysical definition, the composite of ideas, thoughts, emotions, sensations, and knowledge that makes up our conscious, subconscious, and superconscious phases of mind. It includes all that man is aware of. It's the basis. The ideas that are held in mind are the basis for this consciousness. So we have this consciousness. It can be used appropriately. It can be used in alignment. It can sync with the divine, or we can slip in consciousness. Sometimes we talk about ego consciousness, where the selfish, pretend self, not caring about anybody else, as the Daily Word talked about. That self can grip us and pull us down. Actually, we allow that. It's really a choice on our part. Or divine consciousness, Christ consciousness, can raise us up. In spiritual circles, we often talk about raising consciousness or the elevation of consciousness. Well, if we would live in integrity, we must choose to elevate that consciousness. So today I want to talk about that consciousness in three different ways. I want to talk about diminished consciousness. That's where we slip down, where we're pulled down. I want to talk about static consciousness. We're going nowhere. And I want to talk about elevated consciousness. So you know very much what diminished consciousness is all about. We are all human and we have all erred. We have made mistakes. We have allowed ourselves to be pulled down away from that beats within us as who we really are, as what we truly want to express in the world. We truly want to be that divine expression. And we have somehow allowed our consciousness to be diminished. We know when we're selfish, when we're petty, when we aren't even good to ourselves, as Donna spoke of. We know that, and we know that's not the real us. But we are sometimes that way because that's how we think. And over again, we think repeatedly that I'm not good enough, that this is my right, I'm going to take it, that this is how I want to appear in front of somebody else. And I'm just going to show them how good I am, even while we're not necessarily feeling very good about it. All of this, that ego consciousness, I'm going to call it, not that the ego doesn't have a role, but when that ego takes over and becomes the rider and kind of on top of the horse, directing where the show goes, it can lead us astray. So we then are in a place of diminished consciousness. And then some of us, myself included from time to time, are in a place of static consciousness. We're pretty much unaware. We just let life float on by us. We don't make very many choices, either bad or good. We're just kind of there. Nothing happens. You got to be placed just to be static in consciousness going on. But then we have the vision of a consciousness that's elevated. Consciousness is so many things that go along with this, so many words. We talk about awareness. We talk about enlightenment. We talk about spiritual maturity. All of these things are steps up, handholds and footholds up in consciousness that bring us closer to that true expression of who we are, living really and completely in integrity. How does that happen? Because of what we're thinking often, because of what we're feeling, what emotions we have, what visions we have, what images that are in our mind. That's where what we determine what it is. There's a beautiful scripture in Proverbs, and I'll paraphrase it a little bit. As a man or woman thinks in her or his heart, so is she or he. We'll say it two different ways. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. As a woman thinks in her heart, so is she. It's a thought that is so important. And that word that we had for the daily word, thoughtful, was important. So let's look toward full thoughts. There's an author that took that phrase from Proverbs and wrote a little book from it, 47-page book. James Allen was his name, 1903. Been around a while. It's on my shelf. I guess this must be a Rizzo. It's falling apart, so it must be one of those 1903 versions. Here's what James Allen says. Every thought seed, and he talks about them as thought seeds, that's sown or allowed to fall into the mind and to take root there, produces its own, blooming sooner or later into act and bearing its own fruitage of opportunity and circumstance. Good thoughts bear good fruit. Bad thoughts bear bad fruit. So it is with consciousness. Diminished consciousness will work itself out, will manifest itself in our lives in what we really don't want to see. But if that's where our mind is, if that's what we're thinking, that's what's going to show up in our reality. Static thoughts are going to give us the same ho-hum life that the thought is, ho hum. But elevated consciousness, looking upward, looking to the true nature that we have, that Christ consciousness within that, the divine expression within us will raise us up. And the more we can take our mind and focus on that, that's more of what we're going to see in our lives. So there's a idea of becoming awake and aware. Sometimes you can take a spiritual pilgrimage and you become awake and aware. Oh yes, you bring up certain things, but maybe it's not during the thought that you had while you were at that ashram or that retreat in the mountains. If those thoughts don't remain with you, you don't hold them in mind, you probably will be back either to that static consciousness or that diminished consciousness. I know it's true for me. Every morning when I wake up, the first thing I do is spend some time in quiet. Almost every day. Once in a while I don't. And I realize the effect of that if I don't. And I spend that time in consciousness, seeking guidance, knowing who I truly am. Instead of me, I'm looking at I am. Instead of the selfish thing, I'm looking for the divine, the true divine expression. So when I do this in the morning, when I spend that time, I can hold that thought sometimes for quite a while into the day until it tends to peter out. And when it does, when I stop holding that thought in mind, then things begin to deconstruct. And that which I wish for myself when I'm not holding that thought in my mind, that elevated thought, then I begin to slip. There's a beautiful scripture in Revelation. Revelation is this apocalyptic book, this visionary book, hard to understand in the Christian scriptures, but it really talks about spirit often in this apocalyptic. Thank you, Phyllis. This apocalyptic treatise. It says, with regard to spirit, come up higher. Come up higher. It's that entreaty to come up higher. And that's what I want to ask of myself. That's what I challenge you to ask as well. Come up higher in spirit. Take control of your mind. Hold in mind that which you wish to see in your reality. So how do I do that? Well, holding in mind is an exercise that, first of all, takes some training. So James Allen, again, in that little book, gives us two things that help us in training our mind. The vision, says he, that you glorify in your mind, the ideal that you enthrone in your heart, this will build your life. This you will become. So what do you have a vision of? What do you spend time ruminating about again and again? What do you enthrone in your life? If you would train your mind, spend some visionary time, spend some time enthroning or lifting up certain qualities that you would want to have in your life. That's mind training. And then there's practice. Let's do a little bit of an exercise here. Let's do a bit of practice. Let's think of we can see it coming in through the curtains here in Payson. Let's think of sunshine. Everybody think of sunshine. Think of everything you can think about that you like about sunshine. Keep thinking about sunshine. Don't start thinking about anything else. Just keep thinking about sunshine. Another expression of sunshine. The brightness of the sunshine, the warmth of the sunshine. Keep thinking about sunshine. Well, for about 10 seconds, you held the thought of sunshine in your mind. This is the practice that goes on. What is it that you desire? What is it that you honor in your life? What is it that you really want to be a part of your life? Hold that thought. 10 seconds, and maybe the second time you might get to 13 seconds. And you might be able to hold that thought a greater and greater period of time. So as you practice by holding that thought in your mind, it becomes part of you and eventually will express in the outer world. So the other side of that is if you hold the thoughts of gloom and doom, of darkness, of storms in your mind for a long period of time, it's probably going to show up in your life, both as maybe a physical storm, but maybe another kind of storm. Whatever you're holding, it's a thought in your mind. It's probably what you're going to do. If you're worrying, I just got to worry about this. But good luck. You're probably going to produce it in your life. Fear, afraid of, and you're paralyzed by fear. Or you allow someone to use fear as a tool to kind of get you stirred up. You can choose. Turn away from that. Hold not those things, but hold what you aspire to. Hold that. Now, the climbing up vision we had in the handholds and the footholds. The other experience that I have in Arizona here is the experience of hiking, particularly in areas where there's a flowing stream of some sort. Absolutely love that. We have those here in the mountains of Arizona. It's delightful. And I remember not long ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, taking a hike in a canyon called Sea Canyon, not too far from here, but a little bit. What that was. That might have been a bird I heard in Sea Canyon. But in order to really get started on that trail, just after the trailhead, there's the stream that flows down through. It's a spring-fed stream, but it's amazingly full of water. And there are stepping stones. And you have to step across those stones, about 6 or 7 of them, to get to the other side without slipping, falling in, and getting wet. So that practice that we have is to look for the stones. Look for the awareness that we have. Look for the stones first. And then with intention, with careful intention, step on those stones. I'm challenged to do this all the time. Look for the stones, the safe places that keep me from slipping. Step on those stones with intention. Holding your thoughts in mind. With intention, stepping on the stones to keep yourself from slipping. That's going to help you sink. In other words, a line moving upwards to keep you from sinking, slipping, and falling into that water or that negative place in your life that sometimes paralyzes you. So sink or sink. It is again. sink, to diminish in consciousness, or sink to align or to elevate in consciousness. You get a choice here. You can choose to put yourself in the place that allows you to elevate in consciousness. You can choose that, both by being careful that you don't slip and by choosing thoughts and actions that are in integrity with who you really are and aligning with the divine, the I am that you truly are. And so it is.
Align with the divine. Great motto to remember. Now it's time to prepare for meditation. As we listen to the meditation song, How Great the Father's Love.
Time for us to spend a bit of time in silence, to take in what has caught our heartstrings today. So would you just breathe with me and let all thoughts of the day slip by and be here in no place but here. Know that it is now. Now. Breathe with me. We are divine creatures. First of all, there's nobody like us. We have a unique place in the universe. No one can fill that place. We are precious. More precious than a gem. And we are divine as well. We are divine expression. We are expressions in that impact the life of those around us. And energetically, beyond that, in fact, the entire globe. So those divine ideas that come to us that resonate, we value them above all else. And we seek to know how we are to express them in this world. So for this very moment, let's take three of the great powers that we as divine expressions have. The power of faith, the power of wisdom, the power of love. Oh yes, you have them. You've gotten covered up a little bit. But they're there. It is part and parcel of the creation that you are. So which of those powers draws you? Faith. Is it wisdom? Take your thought now, direct it to that beautiful ability that you have, that single ability. As you do recognize the divine nature of that power and recognize that it's in you. Take a moment to continue to hold that thought, this ability. Feel that power flowing through you. Wanting to fill you up wanting to overflow. Mhm. Keep your mind fixed on that. Bring it back to remembrance again and again. In the week ahead. Know that it is your ability. You are blessed. And bless the world. And it's blessed. And bring your awareness back to this time, this place. Knowing that you have a track for the week, for the days ahead. Track to follow. As you align with the divine. So
Well, I chose love. And I wondered how many other people chose love. How many people chose love in the meditation? I remembered I was wearing this heart. Daniel Maynard's wife makes jewelry. After a concert at Union Payson, he sold his CDs and her jewelry. And I got the heart. And it just really made sense that I chose love. So, if you have something you can touch, something you can hold, that's helpful. So turn the lights out from meditation. I'm reticent to turn them on, but okay. Now's the time to share our gifts and our offerings. Unity of Payson appreciates your gifts in support of this ministry. These gifts go out to the larger community as well. As you listen to the offering song, you'll have time to make a contribution. The offering basket will be passed in person here in Payson. If you're attending virtually, the information for giving is on the slides. So let's bring our attention to our gift at this time. Mom is waving to you. Run. Okay, so we are going to say the affirmation together. Are we ready? Together. Freely we give and freely we receive. And we are grateful, and so it is. Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you so much. Right, we're going to have the dedication of the offering. We're grateful for these gifts. We're grateful for the givers. We bless these gifts and those who gave and those who give, as we say together, divine love flowing through us, blesses and multiplies all that we are, all that we give, have all that we give, and all that we receive. We are abundantly prosperous, and we are grateful. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. I added all that we are, and then I forgot that I added it. But it's there. All that we are, all that we give, and all. So it's time for connection. For those online to connect with those in person, we rotate the camera. And Reverend Neal will remotely rotate the camera so you can wave when this camera faces you. And whoa. Hi, Phyllis. All right. Next Sunday's speaker will be Reverend Neal Worthington. Reverend Julianne spoke on the first Sunday, so Reverend Neal will be speaking the second, third, and fourth. The theme continues to be integrity. My words and actions are in harmony with my values. I am whole and complete. Whole, undivided, and complete. I'll share a few announcements with you now. All meetings are on Zoom unless otherwise noted. The regular weekly events are Morning Cafe, Monday through Saturday at 9:30 to 10. Qigong, Sundays and Wednesdays at 4:30 on Zoom. You get to Zoom by going to unityofpayson.org and clicking on the blue Zoom link. Cards and games at K's every Thursday. That's not on Zoom. At 1 p.m. Highway cleanup, monthly, third Thursdays. 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Big Lots parking lot. Contact Reverend Neal to participate. Otherwise, he's out there cleaning the highway by himself. We have a portion of the highway in Payson for, oh, Teresa does it. Thank you, Teresa. So now, A Course in Miracles with Reverend Neal this Tuesday, 6 o'clock on Zoom. That's the first and third Tuesdays. We have the writers group for those who love to write, Thursday, September 22nd, 4 p.m. That's an hour on Zoom. We have Sunset on the Rim with Tom, Friday, the 23rd at 5:15. Sunset is at 6:18 p.m., just in case you are wondering. And then we have Fall Equinox event at Shanti Olmsted, hosted by Ram, Saturday, September 24th, 4 to 8 p.m. The 4 p.m. is a farm tour, 5 p.m. is a community feast, and 6:30 are campfire songs. Can register. The registration link is available in the calendar at unityofpayson.org and in the Monday e-newsletter. For the new members class, Wednesday, September 28th is the first one at 5 p.m. in person at church and on Zoom. We're going hybrid. Please see Reverend Neal if you'd like to become a member. And we have a PS from Neal.
Just mention a couple of things a little bit more. There, I believe, are only a few places left for the fall equinox event. So do take a look at the either the website or the Monday newsletter and make your reservation before it's all sold out. And there also are some flyers back there that you can take with you, which have the link on it. So it's a new kind of thing for us to be a part of. It's not only Unity, there are a number of other groups that are participating as well, but we're really looking forward to it. Big thing for today, right after, I didn't talk too long. Right after we conclude the service today, we will be setting up a vaccination clinic in the back. Well, we won't be doing it, but the Methodist Church has set this up, and we're going to join with them. If you would like to participate, please feel free. But even if you don't participate, go back and have some goodies and some coffee or something like that, and socialize and have a chance to do that. We're going to leave the meeting going just for a little bit after we conclude with the prayer for protection. And anyone who's online can unmute and connect with each other and just talk for a moment. We'll just, kind of extend the social time a little bit to those of you who are here virtually. I think that's about it. So if you're here in person, let's gather around, see if we can figure out how to circle up here, and we'll sing the with accompaniment, we'll sing the peace song, and then the prayer for protection.
Reverend Neal, do you have a sentence for us for the week? We have a sentence.
I'll make it simple. For the week, align with the divine.